Now that there is the practicality of having a van. It's great just to finish the trail, be able to put the bike in the back and drive home, or putting it in there to go to the trail in the first place. Now I could secure that down with a range of bungees, different securing methods, but it's never felt safe. So what I decided to do was come up with a bike fork mount system that works very well in this van. This is a Citroen Berlingo. It's a 2015 edition, so you could probably do this for many older versions or even the more recent versions of this van or one similar to it. I don't claim this to be my own invention. I have seen other videos on YouTube, not quite like this, so I have adapted it to work for my bike. Stay tuned, find out how I've done it. Now the great thing about doing a DIY build like this is it doesn't have to cost a lot of money. So if you've got these pieces around your house, brilliant, okay? Otherwise it's not going to break the bank. So I had a piece of 4x2. I'll put the dimensions for this Citroen Berlingo in the description, but it will also fit a Peugeot partner as well, as they are essentially the same van. So the initial outlay for the Delta Universal bike fork mount is the most expensive part. £20 you can pick that up for. And then the rest of it, B&Q, Wix, any DIY store. And I'll go on to explain these when you can see them in greater detail in a moment. Once you cut that wood to the dimension of your van, the only thing that secures this Delta bracket down is the 2 bolts that you put in. Alright, so it's a very simple fix. A bit of advice for you though is just make sure that you sort of measure twice and then drill once, because it needs to be aligned perfectly to be able to get that fork nice and straight. Otherwise you're going to have to take it apart, readjust, and you're just going to end up with loads of holes in your 4x2. So make sure you do that properly before you commit to securing them in place. Now the Delta bracket itself, just so you can get a good idea how this functions, it may be a case that when you take it out of the pack and install it, as you see now, that the fork fits straight away. But as we know, for some mountain bikes, in particular mine, I have to do a little adjustment on it to make sure that it fits securely. So in the packaging already you get loads of additional extras. Now these will bolster the width of your Delta Universal fork mount and make it wider. So let me demonstrate how that works. Now this is removable. You can see it's hollow because that's where the through axle goes. Now if you need to make it wider, just grab the pieces that come with the kit and then you can slide them into place and make it wider. You can add the extra elements to it and again make those pieces wider. If that still isn't enough, then you can drop another section into it and just keep going until eventually your fork fits securely in place. I haven't seen another unit that does this for this particular price. It's pretty cheap for what it is. It's very well built and it works perfectly. So that is a nice feature that I feel is beneficial to show you at this point. Now the amazing thing about doing your own DIY stuff is you can customize it so that you get it exactly how you want it. Now this for me is removable, so if I don't want it in the van because it gets in the way, I can take it out. But when I want to install it, everything blends in. Already painted mine nice and black to match the rest of the van. Now these are called brass barrel bolts. You can pick them up in any DIY store. They're relatively cheap. I think these are about £5 each. But what you'll notice is I've used the rear wheel arch, because it's ply lined, to install this metal piece. Now although I've painted over it, all I had to do was just make sure that it was hollow on the other side so that you're not drilling into the van itself. So that was so easy to install, but just make sure it's perfectly aligned so that this is nice and flush to the van floor, but also that it gives you a secure fit when you have it in place, because you can't make too many mistakes there just because of the margin of adjustment if you get it wrong. However, it is right, and you can see that when you get it correct, so measure twice, cut once, you can slide that barrel bolt across and it fits securely in place. So by securing the bolt on the other side, what you'll see is there is a little bit of movement up and down. It doesn't really matter that because the bike's not going to go up and down, but the main thing is it's not going to go backwards and forwards, and as long as you've cut your dimensions right and it's nice and tight to the sides of the van, it doesn't go left and right, which is where your main movements are going to be. So you can see with that now locked in place, it's not going to go anywhere, so it's perfectly secure. And now I'm going to show you how to secure the bike fork onto the mount. Okay, now we're at the final stages. If you don't have one of these, go and purchase it. It's a brake bleed block, so cheap but going to save you a lot of time. When you remove that front wheel, It acts as like a rotor essentially, so you can insert it at the back in between the brake there, in between the brake pads, and if you inadvertently press that front brake, it's going to stop those pistons from compressing and spoiling your day if you don't have a piston reset tool. Now with this perfectly aligned, this is why it is essential, so that when you drop those forks on, you're not going to struggle to get the through axle in. So it should slide through nice and smooth like that, and then you just do it up as if it was the front wheel on there. Once it's in place, that's the bike nice and secure, ready for your trip. Now this is what it looks like when the job's finished, and you can see that by securing it properly in place, it's not only safe, as I've mentioned, but look at the amount of room that you left for all your actual mountain bike gear, and you can secure that in place. You can see I've got a strap installed on the left hand side there, but you can get 2 bikes in there really easily with all the gear, and just know that you're going to get from A to B without any issues. So if you like this, please rate, comment, subscribe. Press that subscribe button though, always appreciate that, and let me know how you get on if you choose to do this. Alright, until next time.